This is a meditation tutorial for awakening. So meditation to benefit spiritual awakening. So I feel like meditation is essential when you're going through a spiritual awakening. And I'm sure everyone would have a different opinion on that. But for me, it was one of my main practices that I did. And it also just helps in so many different ways to benefit awakening. I'm really not sure that you could go all the way with awakening without extended periods of time in silence. I really do feel like that is a key element to remembering yourself. So I'm going to refer to my notes through this tutorial so I don't miss anything. So what is the point of awakening meditation? So meditating for the purposes of awakening. What is it that we're actually doing? So one of the things that we're doing, probably the most important thing that we're doing, is that we are placing our attention on awareness, on our true nature. And when we do that, it goes from being what you could say is dormant or asleep within us, covered over by all the content of the mind and emotions. And it starts to wake up. We start to remember who we are. So by meditating in a certain way, we can start to wake up the awareness that is already there, that is who we are, but it goes from being in a dormant state to being unveiled. It starts to become more and more obvious. It may start as quite subtle, and it becomes more and more obvious until it gets to the point where you wake up, where you become self-realized, and then it takes the front seat in your experience and you operate from being awareness. So it's really a crucial part to the whole awakening puzzle, is that through meditation, so we can do it through the day as well, through like a mindfulness technique of noticing awareness is there. That's a great practice as well. But we really gain so much benefit from extended periods of meditation and going as deeply as we can into our being. That's really the key. So it's not just touching in on it and just noticing it, but it's then going through the layers to deepen and deepen and deepen, spiraling down into our being and working through all those layers. And so sometimes that takes a period of time. Sometimes we need to sit there for a while to allow that unfolding to happen. Particularly when we're new to it, it's going to take more time for things to settle, for the content and the mind to settle, so we can start to access those deeper states of our being. So that's one of the main reasons why we're meditating during an awakening. It really also allows for the disidentification process to happen. It really supports that disidentification, where you really begin to notice that, oh, wow, I'm not that thought. Before I was totally identified with it. I really thought that I was the one having the thought and the thought was about me. And through meditation, it starts to unhook that, and we start to get in the witnessing position, the awareness position, and we start to notice what's actually happening. Is there a disidentification with the content, with the mind, and what it's saying, plus the other content, the emotions and sensations in the body. And we start to get in the awareness position, and that starts to unhook identification with the content. So it's extremely beneficial for that process of disidentification to occur. It really supports that. It helps to dissolve patterns of thinking. So the silence that we are, the awareness that we are, is really like a solvent. It can really dissolve content, and it can dissolve ways that the mind operates automatically, or that it's been conditioned to operate in certain cycles or patterns of thinking. And so it helps to dissolve this content and these patterns and the set ways that the mind operates, latching on from one thought to another to another. So the more access we have to emptiness, to our essential nature, it will act as a solvent to the content And so the deeper we can go into meditation and the more often we do it, we are not only remembering ourselves, remembering that we are that silent awareness, that emptiness, but it's also helping to dissolve the content and the ways that the mind operates in those cycles and those patterns of thinking. It helps to start to break that as well. So it's very beneficial for that. And it also helps the nervous system to relax. So many of us have a dysregulated nervous system, particularly if we've had a hard life or we had early childhood trauma. And we may not even know that that is the case, but we could be stuck in the fight-flight response, or we could just be stuck in really heavy doing energy of I've got to get the next task done and always thinking about what the next thing is, or perhaps worrying, anxiety, that type of forward energy. And so that stops us from being able to relax deeply into the nervous system to allow the nervous system to really let go deeply enough so that we can access our true nature. So this is a sticking point for a lot of people that early on in meditation is that they're unable to meditate as deeply as they need to, and that's because they have a dysregulated nervous system. So then obviously my suggestion would be to go and get help with that, and that might look like something outside of awakening, like a trauma therapist that understands the nervous system, or maybe a craniosacral practitioner that understands the nervous system, but something to get some support for the nervous system. And then you'll start to be able to go deeper into your meditation. But once you're able to start that process and start to go a bit deeper, then you'll notice that emptiness itself, accessing it once you can, really helps the nervous system to relax. And so it's very healing for the body and the nervous system. So then once we get on a roll with that, then we start to see how much improvement we have through deep relaxing. Awakening is about, a large part is about how deeply can I relax? How deeply can I let go and surrender? And so we do that through using a rested, relaxed, open nervous system. And so we want to be able to get to a place where we can relax into it. And then we'll see that our access to awareness also supports the process of healing and relaxing more deeply. Some important points for meditating for awakening. Sitting very still is an excellent way to gain access to your true nature, because one of the elements of it, one of the facets of it, is stillness. And so we can use being very still in the body to act as a portal to it. So our tendency is to want to move, even if it's little micro moves and adjustments. And so we want to start to learn how to keep the body very still. And so I suggest to try and work on even holding the body in a slightly braced position, perhaps holding the hands like this, where you're a little bit more braced, can help initially, so that it's a little bit harder to move against that. So you're sort of holding yourself in a steady position. And then we want to, and we'll just notice really that just the breath is the movement, and the body is still and the breath is moving in and out. And we want to bring awareness into the body, something like noticing the breath, or noticing the soles of the feet, or noticing sitting is going to be very beneficial for embodying our realizations, embodying emptiness rather than having a transcendent experience. So we want to be still, and we want to be focused on the body somehow. The breath is a great place to start. It's very zen. And we notice the body and we have that connection. Also, timing, I would suggest 20 minutes as a minimum. Whatever you can do in your lifestyle, everyone has different responsibilities, and any is better than none. but it does take a while to start to relax into the meditation and start to go to deeper layers. So I'd say at least 20 minutes typically, especially when you're new to it, to start to be able to let go and surrender enough to sort of see any progress. But I'd say 30 minutes is better, and then start to just increase the amount that you do, and you'll see more progress that way. And also just to know that it is an intuitive process. It's not a process for the mind, and it's not something really to be understood, and that it is a self-guided, intuitive process, and that something in you remembers how to do this. It remembers what you are. And so it's partially about intuition and trust as well. So what are some of the challenges of meditating? Physical pain can be one. So if you're dealing with chronic pain, then I'd say just get yourself in a position, because it doesn't really matter what position you're sitting in, as long as you're not going to fall asleep and you're comfortable and you can sit still, then that position is fine, even if it's lying down. So know your body and know what works for you, and get in a comfortable position where you're going to be alert enough to not fall asleep. So if you have chronic pain, then you're probably likely not to fall asleep. So you can even lie down if that works for you, and do what you need to do to stay in that position for as long as you can. And it might be that you need to do smaller increments. And so whether you need a hot pack or an ice pack or extra pillows or whatever it is, make it as comfortable as you can for yourself, and get into a position that works best for you. And sometimes it just might not be the right time to meditate for you. Maybe you're in too much pain and there's no need to force it. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to add to the pain because you're going through a spiritual awakening. Wait for a time where you're not feeling as severe pain. Falling asleep, as I said, we want to get in a position where we're not going to fall asleep. And so each person is different as to how easily we fall asleep. So you have to make it work for you. So that might be meditate at a different time of the day. Maybe you're too tired to do it after work, so you've got to get up before work and do it then when you're more alert. Or maybe you do it after you've had a little bit of caffeine. Or just get in a more awkward position, just where you're sitting on the edge of a chair, something where it's going to be harder to fall asleep, where you have to use your posture. That can often be enough. But if you're wanting to push it even harder, there's other things you can do. You can stand up when you meditate. That can ensure that you don't fall asleep if you're really wanting to push yourself. Or even just having your eyes open in a Zen downward gaze can really help to keep you present and not fall asleep. So they would be my recommendations for not falling asleep. Boredom is a big challenge. Boredom is really just resistance to meditating. You could think of it as the egoic tendencies ramping up to try and get you not to meditate, or the doer energy, if you want to think of it that way, trying to, like, wanting to do something, not wanting to just be, not wanting to just sit and be silent and still. And so there's going to be a bit of a struggle sometimes. Sometimes there's a lot of a struggle, and this can feel like boredom often. And it's like a layer that we go through, and sometimes we go through multiple layers of boredom. And so it can happen quite quickly. Once we start sitting, then we'll notice a layer of, I don't want to do this type thinking. There's something else I need to do. Maybe I should do this later, avoidance type of thinking. And then this is too boring. I've got other things I could be doing. It's not working. All of that type of thing. So it's all really just resistance. And all you can do with that layer is to just sit very still and just wait and keep noticing the breath and just wait it out. And so if you just hang in there, you'll notice that you break through that layer. And yes, you might come to another layer of boredom or resistance, and you're likely to go through multiple layers as you go through your meditation, depending on how much practice you've had at meditating. But just all you can really do is just be with it. You just say, there's just boredom here. That's okay. You sit extra still. You keep noticing the breath. It's all right. It's not going to be here forever. But don't listen to it. Don't give in to what it is trying to tell you to do, to get up and to do something. It's okay if the mind is busy. Sometimes the mind is busier than other times. If you've had a very stressful day or something bad has happened, obviously the mind's going to be busier. And it doesn't, just because you've got a busy mind and the meditation doesn't feel like it's going well, doesn't mean anything. So it's helpful to know that meditating is not about how deep a state of peace you reached in it. Sometimes it's about having a lot of content flying about and feeling quite uncomfortable, or being in physical pain, or being in emotional pain. It can go different each time we do it. And it's just about accepting, like, this is what arose today, and doing the practice regardless, and not giving up, just sitting with it, even if it's painful or annoying or the mind's busy, and just not making that mean anything. So it's like, oh, today the mind is busy. Okay. And then you just keep doing your practice. So it's about not, just because the mind is busy, not assuming that you're not doing it properly, or that you should give up, or that you're not improving even. There's days where the mind will be busy, and there's days where the mind will be quiet, and you just meditate regardless. And we're also very much conditioned to do and to not be, and as a society, collectively, and through our own personal conditioning. And we can spend all day running from one task to the next, doing. And meditating is about being. It's about being with ourselves. And that's a very different energy. And initially, if we're not used to that, it could feel uncomfortable. It could be frightening. There could be fear, layers of fear that arise. We could interpret it as boring. It's because we're so conditioned to be doing something. And so the mind, depending on our particular conditioning, might not like to relax, might find that scary even, and would rather do anything, any task at all, rather than just be. So you might find that this resistance is quite strong in just wanting to do something, do anything. You clean the house, tasks that you've been putting off, studying something, anything other than just being with yourself. And again, like that other layer of boredom, of resistance, this is just a matter of, it's just the doer energy. It's just relaxing into it and waiting for it to pass. And it will, if you stay still and you keep with the practice, you'll break through it. It'll just be a layer. So generally speaking, what are the different things that we're doing when we're doing meditation for awakening? So first of all, we want to sit still, get in a position we can stay awake and comfortable. And then we want to start to notice the breath, or a body part like the soles of the feet, or the pressure of sitting, or the heart center, and put our attention on that so that we're focusing in the body. And we just start to relax. So we sit in our position and we just start to allow everything to relax. The mind, take deep breaths. We just start to let go. And so we're really letting the energy body relax as well. And so inside, it should start to feel like everything is starting to settle. Your mind can still be busy, that's okay. But everything's starting to sort of slow down a bit, like the dust starting to settle, starting to get still. And that takes as long as it takes. So sometimes it might take a minute, and sometimes it might take an hour. But we just notice the dust settling and everything slowing down. And then I suggest that you start to notice the awareness, your true nature, our empty selves that is there. And there are a number of different portals to noticing awareness, who we are. And this is because there's different facets to awareness. I've got another video called Gateways to Awareness that points out different portals, different gateways to accessing awareness. So you're welcome to watch that video if that helps you. I'll go through a couple of them today, but that one guides you through a number that you can use to just see what works for you. So choose a portal that works for you. Choose a facet of awareness that you can notice the most. And it's up to you how you want to do it. If you want to use the same one every time, for example, silence, if it's very easy for you to notice that silence that's always there, regardless of there being noise, if that's just the way you're tuned to notice that, and you always want to use that as an entry point for meditation, then that totally works. Or if every day you want to feel into what makes sense to me today. Is it to notice the witnessing of the thoughts? Is that what makes sense to me today? Or is it the stillness? Am I really noticing the stillness? Then that will work as well. So you can make it your own. But just knowing what it is we're trying to do. So we're trying to access our fundamental nature, and there's a number of different ways of doing that because it has a lot of different facets to it. Once we understand that, then and we know what they are, then we choose one that works for us, and we use that as a portal to access our being. Once we've chosen one, then it's a matter of relaxing into it. And so we're really surrendering, we're letting go. So it's really about opening and relaxing. If we're thinking about the energy body, that's what it is that we're doing. We're relaxing back into our being, like we're sitting back into an armchair. So we're not searching out for it like we would try and find something, because we can't find it that way. We can't find it through seeking energy, because it's already the one that's seeking. It's already the awareness of the seeking. So we can't find it that way, that it's just going to activate more and more seeking and more chasing, like a dog chasing its tail around and around and around. So all we can do is take the backward step, and that is to just be it. To remember we already are it. It's already here. Even if I don't understand what that means or what that feels like just yet, it's just having some trust that, okay, perhaps it's already here. And more of a relaxation and sinking into it is what helps us to get in alignment or shift into the position, you could say, of our true nature. And so we find the portal that works best for us, and then we relax backwards into it, or into ourselves, in and in and in is another way to think of it. And then once we're doing that and we're relaxing in our being, we've found a way to do that, which is quite intuitive. And we become quite skilled at it, like anything. And it becomes very natural, and we can immediately do it. Then it's a matter of deepening into it. And so we don't want to just touch on it and then pull out again. We're wanting to get a continual deepening is what we're looking for. And so that's a deeper relaxation that we're aiming towards, a deeper surrender and opening and letting go energetically that we're working towards, while we maintain stillness in the body. Very still. But on the inside, we're letting go of boundaries. We're opening to ourselves, opening to the vastness of ourselves. And then it's going to take us on a journey. And each meditation is going to be different. Sometimes it's going to be more about the content that comes up and illumination of things from the past, and we may really struggle with what's wanting to come up because it's really wanting to be illuminated at that time or healed, and that's okay. And other times we'll be able to go very deeply into our silent selves and really empty out. And so don't make it right or wrong. Just go on your journey of that meditation at that particular time, and whatever arises. And you just do your best to keep relaxing into your being as you practice. If you get lost in the mind, you remember, that's right, I'm just relaxing into stillness. Relax. So now you know the different steps of meditating or awakening, what it is you're trying to do. I'll roughly guide you through the process now. So We just get in a position where we can sit really still, brace it a little bit if that helps us. We close down our eyes or perhaps choose a lowered gaze, soft gaze. And we try different things to see what works best for us. And we bring our attention into the body, noticing the breath, feeling it go all the way in and all the way out. And if the breath feels like it's not right for you, it sometimes isn't right if we have a lot of trauma in the body. And perhaps feel the soles of the feet. Feel the weight of sitting. Feel yourself land in the body. So we're feeling very grounded, very present in the body to start with. We choose a portal to notice our true nature. May notice the silence, the stillness, the vastness, boundary, no boundaries, boundaryless. May notice witnessing of thought, witnessing of sensation or emotion. All different ways to access our true nature. Might notice the felt sense of existence in the body. Feeling I am here. So we tune in to whichever way works for us. And we're really aligning with it. We start to relax into it. Mind doesn't play a part in this. It can be busy or still. It's irrelevant. Noticing what's outside of the mind. So now we start to relax into that, into our true nature. Thinking deeper, opening more. If we notice layers of resistance, I don't want to do this. I'm bored. We notice fear. Don't make it mean anything. It's just a layer. We just sit in it. And eventually it will break through. Do my best to realign with our true nature, with awareness. It takes as long as it takes to get through that layer. Don't need to make it mean anything. And then it is a process of deepening, spiraling inward and inward into our being. Searching for the core, but we don't do it through searching. We do it through opening. We do it through surrender. Like an ice block melting, bit by bit, and we let go. We rest here for as long as we have time. We rest as deeply as we can. We spend time in this alive emptiness that is ourselves. And then when your meditation comes to an end, when the time is up, you can just focus on the breath again. Ground yourself back into the body. Start to make small movements. Wake the body back up to complete the meditation. And now I'll do the same again, now that you know the process, but I'll just meditate, but I'll do it with you. It's probably going to be for about 20 minutes or so. So without speaking, here we go. When you're ready, start to notice the breath again, feeling into the body. The benefit of meditating with someone that's awake, whether that's online or in person, is transmission, which basically means that it will help you to anchor into your being more easily and just to stay there more easily. And so watching meditations of people that are awake and meditating with them will certainly help to anchor you into your essential nature. It's helpful to not analyze the meditation once it's complete, to say that we're doing a good job, we're getting better. Not about becoming a good meditator. That can become a new identity that we then need to let go of. Each meditation will be its own journey and different things will be worked out each time. And a lot of the time we don't even know what it's all about. It's really beyond us and part of the mystery of what we are and how it unbinds itself. And so we let go of judging it and we just allow it to be whatever it was. Even if the mind was busy the whole time, even if there was pain the whole time, it's totally irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a matter of sitting down and doing the work and repeating the practice and allowing it to be whatever it is, showing up and sitting down and sitting down. So I hope that just helps you to get some idea on the process of meditating for the purposes of progressing with spiritual awakening.